Simplify, simplify, simplify. Okay. Why am I repeating that term over and over again? Because most of you overcomplicate this way too much. All right. And because of that, you go through that analysis paralysis where you just sit around and you don't do anything. You don't do anything. Because and to some extent I can't blame you, you know what I mean? Because we have all these people online that are like science-based lifters or whatever, and they're, measuring their cocks because they're like, oh, my study is better than yours, stuff like that. And I want to give credit where credit's due, because a lot of things do basically run off science. Okay, like they basically run off science, and they've been optimized. Like a lot of the machines that you see, a lot of the movement patterns and forms that we have for exercises, a lot of the way you diet, it's all based off science. So I'm not going to act like, you know what I mean, be some sort of science denier. But sometimes it just gets so overcomplicated and so complex, and you literally worry about the most minute things, that you'll start to get almost this cognitive dissonance where you're like, is this thing better? Is this thing better? Oh my God, I gotta optimize. But then you forget about the most basic principles that are going to give you the vast majority of the results. And that's what this video is about. Simplify, simplify. Every time you see yourself complicating this, overcomplicating it, because I get it. Not all of us are here to necessarily be bodybuilders, okay? We got other stuff we want to do in our lives. We want to be jacked and healthy at it, while we're at it, right? We want to have better social lives. We want to be more attractive. We want to work on our mental health, okay? Because lifting is great and everything, and it's awesome, but there's definitely a lot more to life. Now, if that's someone's, personality, stuff like that, I'm not gonna, people live the life they want to. If they want to make it their personality, that's their thing. But if you're anything like me, you're probably just skinny. You want to be a lot more attractive. You want to have those abs and keep those abs that you might or might not have. You might have some skinny fat, a little bit. So you might want, both abs and just to be a lot bigger and more attractive and feel better and, grow into yourself a little bit more. And that's how you're going to do it. You're going to simplify the process mentally, okay? And again, I'm going to rinse and repeat and go over the same things I usually do, because I know different people are watching this video compared to other videos. But if we're talking about going from skinny to having an aesthetic and athletic physique that we know the opposite gender might be attracted to more, that you're going to feel more confident in, that you're going to feel healthier and better for, because your diet's going to be a lot better, and because you're lifting and you're not having to constantly go through this, like, obsession about lifting necessarily, or the other way around, where you're just like completely not lifting at all and focused on these little optimization tricks that aren't getting you anywhere because you're not even doing the work to begin with, right? Literally all I want you to focus on is the biggest things, okay? So fitness has a few pillars, okay? And I'm going to address basically every single one of these pillars, and I'll do it very, very quickly, and this will be a very efficient video. I always say that, but it always ends up being longer. But anyway, let's try, right? So 4 pillars that I talk about when it comes to fitness is, one is mindset, okay? Mindset's very, very important, because it's the thing that's going to get you in to begin with through the door. Because if you don't have the mindset for it, you're not even going to go through the door to begin with, right? You're not even going to bother. 2 is recovery, okay? 3 is, of course, training and exercise, which is what most people think of. And then 4 is nutrition. These are what you would consider the 4 big pillars of fitness. And I'm going to immediately simplify it down here, okay? Mindset-wise, this is kind of a more flexible one, okay? This is one where you just think about, like, what are the reasons you actually want to get jacked? Do you even care to? Do you even want to? Okay? Are you comfortable with who you are right now? I know I wasn't, okay? So I wanted to feel better and be more confident and feel a lot healthier. And the gym has definitely done that for me. So of course I'm going to suggest it for you. So mindset wise, it's what's going to get you through that door and make it a lot easier for you. So mindset wise, you always want to, every time you find yourself down talking yourself or talking about something, what I like doing is meditating, okay? And here, listen, a lot of you are gonna think meditating has nothing to do with getting jacked. Absolutely incorrect, okay? When you meditate, what happens is you sort of discern yourself from your thoughts. A separation happens, okay? Because oftentimes we think we are our thoughts. So when a thought occurs into our mind, we demonize ourselves and feel bad because if we say that thought out loud, we think it's, it's bad to say. And yeah, it probably might actually be really, really bad to say, like intrusive thoughts that come to our mind. But you have to realize they aren't you. They aren't you. They might be your instincts sometimes. You know what I mean? Or they might just be something impulsive that came out of nowhere. Anything like that. But it's realizing that you're separate from your thoughts. And why that's so crucial to understand is because when you start thinking about, oh my God, like I'm not, I don't know enough or about the gym, analysis paralysis. You know what I mean? Um, Telling yourself you don't know enough even though you've researched a crap ton. So you take yourself out of the equation or you kind of separate yourself from your thoughts and you just say, whoa, wait, hold on. What did I just say? I said I can't do it because X. Okay, cool. That was what my thought said right there. Cool. Those are my thoughts though. That's not me. So you can choose not to act on that. Does that make sense? You don't have to choose to act on some of those thoughts. So I always like meditating because it helps you separate yourself and almost see yourself from a 3D perspective. Something it also helps with is doom scrolling, okay? And if you can sort of meditate to help mitigate doom scrolling, perhaps your mental health is better enough to be now able to go to the gym because you're not spending so much time draining yourself on things that aren't going to be helping you, okay? Right? So, because when you're scrolling, you all of a sudden realize that, oh my God, I didn't even realize how I got here. So, boom, you're able to click off because you're able to be mindful in that moment, okay? And again, that is one of the biggest mindset shifts. I would just say meditate for, you know, a minute and then build up to 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes every single day, okay? Whatever you can stick to, okay? And the point is, and you might be like, oh my God, Shay, I'm bad at meditation. Boom. You just said it there. You might not have the awareness yet because you haven't meditated, but I'll pick it out for you here just so you realize that that's your thoughts speaking. That's not necessarily you. So you can choose to deny that thought and be like, well, I haven't exactly tried it or I might not be doing it right enough, so that you course correct and then you try it again and then you do it again, okay? Because meditation will again help you get past a lot of these limiting beliefs because it helps you separate your thoughts from yourself. And the way you do it is you sit down, you close your eyes, and you breathe, and you focus on your breath. As soon as you see your attention wavering from your breath, and you realize, oh my God, wait, I'm not focused on my breath anymore, you come right back to your breath. It's like doing a rep in the gym, you know what I mean? So you're not bad at it, okay? If you're you're sitting down. Oh, big B, get out of my face. All right, you're not necessarily bad at it, okay? Because everybody has thoughts. That's just the nature of human beings, okay? All you gotta do is sit down, breathe, breathe in, close your eyes, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, take deep breaths, exhale, take deep breaths, exhale. As soon as you see your attention waver off to something else, you come right back to your breath. Okay? That also sort of eliminates that judgment aspect because you're gonna have the tendency to judge yourself, okay? And that again applies into the gym as well. When you're being mindful of things, okay? When you're being mindful, you put the weight back. When you're being mindful, you notice whether you see yourself comparing yourself. You notice whether you're doom scrolling. You notice a lot of these things. So number one, mindset. And the thing that helped me with it, meditation. Okay, boom. We got that out of the way. First pillar. Second pillar, recovery. Okay. Now you can use supplements, stuff like that. Whey protein, creatine are the ones I recommend the most personally. Those are the ones that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. And a multivitamin would also be very, very helpful, but make sure they're third-party tested, okay? But the number one thing that falls into recovery, which I should have mentioned even beforehand, I'm kind of upset that I didn't actually, sleep, okay? Nothing beats sleep. Focus on just bettering your sleep, and the quality of your life will get better. And because your recovery is good, your mindset is also going to be affected. So all these things intercorrelate. Okay, they interrelate, they innervate between each other, they relate to each other, whatever you want to call it. They relate. Okay, so you sleep better, you're going to have a less of a tendency to, binge and eat that diet, which is going to affect your nutrition, right? And then you're also going to have less of a tendency to listen to your mind or like doom scroll and things like that, okay? If you sleep really, really good. Recovery, boom, out of the way, okay? It's just supplementation mostly, and sleep. Sleep is probably the biggest one, okay, when it comes to health. Like one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing, right next to exercise when it comes to health. Now, boom, exercise. Exercise, don't overcomplicate this. If you're a beginner, just focus on doing compound movements and learning those, okay? Watch videos on them. They're going to build the most amount of muscle initially for you, because compound movements focus on hitting multiple muscle groups and doing multi-joint actions. So they're going to build a lot of muscles in a lot of different places. Take for example the row for the back, okay? Like a barbell row, okay? Bench press is a pretty good movement. Squat is a pretty good movement, okay? I don't personally deadlift. If you want to deadlift, you can. It can be pretty good as well. But yeah, I don't personally do that. Focus on compound, not necessarily isolation stuff. Isolation is a lot of the machine stuff that you'll see. For the most part, it's not always going to be the case. It's not like, oh, machines are isolation and barbells are not. No, that's not how that works. It's just certain exercises focus more on isolating stuff. And honestly, you don't need to do that yet if you're a beginner, because you're not focusing on growing a specific muscle group just yet. You're just focusing on building general mass, because then you get an idea of how your genetics are. You get an idea of like, okay, what you're working with. Do I have a weak chest, or do I have a weak this? What's my strong point? Oh, maybe my strong point is my shoulders or something. So maybe I don't need to work them in as much specifically. I can just stick to doing, or maybe I do want to do even more work because I want to focus on growing them more. But yeah, do the biggest bang for your buck activity, which is doing compound weights. It's also going to save you a lot of time, okay? And then you can do a 2 times a week full body split, okay? If you're really, really busy like that. A 4 times a week upper, lower, upper, lower. So one day you hit upper body, the other lower body, and then another day the upper body, and then again lower body. Okay, that's probably what I would say go to starting off. Don't try to take on any more than that. Don't ask me for a 5-day, 6-day, 7-day workout routine. You're not gonna stick to it. You're gonna quit. Okay, and I know it sounds like I'm babying you, but I promise you, everybody that does this all-in mentality, dog water, especially when they haven't done anything, they haven't really, really committed, they usually end up not sticking to it long term. Okay. Fourth and final pillar, nutrition. For nutrition, especially if you're a guy who's skinny, okay? The two biggest things you can focus on, I'll keep repeating myself till the day that I die, because this is what I personally did, made it very easy for me to stick to nutrition because I simplified it for myself, okay? I might know other things about nutrition, extra fats, carbs, when to time them, stuff like that. But if we're talking about just like basic level of nutrition, something that's gonna serve you very long term is a 300 calorie surplus, okay? If you don't know what that is, watch some of my previous videos, okay? And you'll learn exactly what that is. But long story short, okay, you're eating a little bit more, not a whole lot more. You're not gonna try to eat all of this, all of this fast food and stuff and try to eat so much, because you're gonna put on a lot more fat, okay? You don't wanna do that. You wanna bulk nice and slow so that you're recovering really well and you're building muscle at a good proportional rate, okay, to the fat that you're putting on, because you're gonna inevitably put on fat, especially if you're very natural, okay? You're not gonna grow muscle the same rate. Now, if you're a beginner, you're gonna grow at a higher rate. Like how muscle growth works is, when you're a beginner, that's why I recommend beginners often get coaching, okay? I know, again, it seems like it's very easy for me to interject my coaching in here, but I'm being for real, because a coach can help you optimize everything, because they have the knowledge to be able to do so and put in all the factors, and all you have to do is just follow, okay? Because muscle growth is a lot worse later on. So like, you'll grow a lot, and then you'll start to plateau over the years. And as you're more advanced, it becomes harder and harder to build muscle. So my like 4th and 5th year into lifting, I'm gonna build way less muscle than you, who is just starting out. Okay, it's just the reality of the way things work. So that's why I recommend doing a lot of these compounds starting off to be able to build as much muscle as you can, and doing this surplus, okay? This slight surplus. You don't want to have a bad diet. You want to have a good, healthy diet, because that's going to help you fuel your workouts, things of that nature, make you feel a lot better, especially when you're busy, help you think a lot more cognitively. It's just going to be better overall, okay? So, and then the other thing I want you to focus on when it comes to nutrition is protein, okay? 1 gram per pound of body weight protein. And now the nutrition side of things takes a bit of experimenting, but if you focus on that, your diet's just going to be a lot better in general, okay? I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, it's not going to be the best, but you're going to feel good and it's going to be great, because you're going to be lifting and you're going to be achieving that aesthetic physique. You're going to feel a lot more confident and you're going to feel a lot better than what you do currently, okay? So it's all relative to where you are, right? And then, by all means, you can focus on very much nitpicking your nutrition and very much nitpicking all these things. But if you're not starting out to begin with, it doesn't really matter. That's why I'm saying simplify all this down. So again, we're going to go over all the principles. Mindset. The things that you tell yourself to be able to get into the gym and to help you make it better, an objective thing for your mental health, is meditation, okay? Or prayer and salah if you're Muslim, right? Simple enough. Recovery, sleep, and supplements. Supplements, protein, creatine will give you the biggest bang for your buck. The best things, okay? Make sure they're third-party tested, because that's how you know they have the actual ingredients that is listed in them. Otherwise, supplements aren't regulated that much, so they can add whatever. So sleep and supplements, got it? That's recovery. Third, exercise. Do a lot more compound weights or compound lifts. Focus on getting good at those, because if you get good at those, every other movement in the gym is going to be a lot easier. Because learning how to move your body in free space with compound movements with free weights can be pretty challenging when you haven't learned how to. But once you do, machines and all the other kinds of exercises, way easier. It's way easier to go from lifting free weights, learning how to do that, to then go to machines, than it is to go from machines to doing the other way around, okay? Not that they have any specific advantage or anything like that in terms of muscle building. That depends on people's anatomy and how height they are, stuff like that, that you don't need to particularly worry about. Just get good at using free weights, okay? Because they'll still give you really good results. Cool, okay? And then nutrition, focus on 1 gram per pound of body weight and focus on a 300 calorie surplus, okay? I know giving like a definite prescription is not necessarily the best, but like for a lot of the people who overthink specific stuff, I just like giving that out, okay? 300 is a pretty solid number to be able to give out, especially for beginners. When you, like I said, when you start out into the gym, you can get away with a higher surplus of either 300 to 500, okay? That's what I would say is a good sweet spot, because anything after that, you're gaining too much more fat, like disproportionate to the amount of muscle you might be gaining and light, so you're gonna have to diet off a lot of the fat afterwards. So that's why I say 300 to 500 is good, especially when you're starting out. When you become more advanced, that surplus is smaller. So it'll look like 200 to 300 calories, because again, you're not putting on muscle as quickly as you used to be able to do. So boom, protein and calories. Biggest things you want to focus on when it comes to nutrition. You do those 4 pillars, you're going to make significant progress. You'll literally be an entirely different person literally 3 months in. I'm not even kidding, okay? You might not have the dream physique at that point, because, you know, that might be a little unrealistic, or who knows, maybe your expectations are a little bit different for what a dream physique looks like. Maybe, you know, you don't want to be like this whole jacked bodybuilder, you know, it's not your entire career, so you're fine with just being a lot more fit. That's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? But either way, you are going to make significant progress doing this, okay? And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Keep it simple, all right, silly? Keep it simple, silly. That's what my anatomy teacher always used to tell me, and it, you know, did dividends for me. Keep it simple. I still keep it simple, and it makes this process a whole lot easier. And then, by all means, learn the nuanced stuff along the way. But you gotta get started. That's all that matters. That's all I got for y'all though. Peace, all right? Take it easy.